morning, everybody, or good afternoon, sorry, and Merry Christmas for those of you who celebrate the the day of the birth of our Savior Jesus Christ. For those of you who do not, I hope the weekend and the associated holiday give you some time for meaningful reflection, and if nothing else, a little time to yourself and to your loved ones. Friends and family, it is good to see you all. And again, normally I do a Saturday SitRep on days like this. As I mentioned in an earlier video, this will be a pre-recorded event. I just wanted to leave a message for everybody that was uplifting and positive, and I'm going to try and do that all week. By now, you will have watched probably all my other videos, which will have my usual tips during the mornings, and I'm going to spin toward the positive because we're just too much negative. Um, and actually, it was surprisingly easy to find really good positive news, and well, it was easy to find positive news, but not without advertisements apparently for Christmas stuff. So advertisers never take a break. I figured this week we'd probably want to talk about things that people were doing right in light of emergencies and how it could affect us. For those of you who are largely unaware, if I'm correct, Bear Independent, Angry Prepper, Off the Wall Prepper have all physically gone to Kentucky to help those folks with the aftermath of the not the earthquakes, good lord, tornadoes and the all the other stuff that went on, the tornadoes and then the associated loss of power, no water, hygiene issues, no food, no clothing. Folks basically had their livelihoods vaporized in front of them. And I'm impressed by the way people from all over, from the East Coast to the West Coast to the Heartland, have all come and gone there and tried to do what's right. I think it's just uplifting to say the least. So while home this Christmas, my son and his wife are both U.S. Army, so I'm very excited about that. Um, I'm going to share some good news with you so you guys can put a positive spin on this happy day. So, hold on a second now. So, the first story I want to share, and this won't be a super long uh, premiere. This is really meant to uh, just let folks find something good to talk about and think about. So, in theory, there it is. Ta-da! So, in the aftermath of the tornado, a lot of people went to Kentucky to help. And by the way, Angry Prepper did have some links, and I believe Bear Independent did as well, where you can donate to folks who are trying to help, or directly to those folks who need the help in Kentucky. I could not find them for some reason, but I saw them earlier, so I encourage you to go and see where you can donate or contribute if you're so inclined to do so. But this gentleman, following the flurry of tornadoes in Mayfield, Kentucky, it was all hands to the grills as nonprofits and individuals alike fired up their barbecues to feed people. I've just figured I'd do what I can do, said Jim Finch, a man who, for no other reason than that people were in need, loaded his truck with food, water, and a big barbecue grill and made his way to Mayfield. We all saw the aftermath. He said, this was the scene right before Jim Finch, the man in the video, set up his grill. There was a later church service in that parking lot across from him. I know they don't have, this is the quote from Mr. Finch. I know they don't have no electricity, so that means they don't have no electric, no restaurants, no running water. So I just figured I'd do what I can do. So when he says barbecue grill, this guy was not joking. This individual packed up those commercial event smokers, and they went out there and they call Operation Barbecue Relief.org. I don't know anything about them. I encourage you to look them up. Maybe they take donations or you can contribute time. Um, they load up 18 wheelers packed with commercial barbecue smokers by Old Hickory pits and deploy to natural disasters and bypass the need for gas and electricity to serve hot meals during these crises, all cooked by award-winning chefs. So was this is a case where it wasn't so much a physical prep or a physical item, but it was a skill set that that person brought to the table. So I remember, those of you who can appreciate this, but being able to handle and cook and prepare food is super important in a bad situation, because once the power, light, clean water go out, understanding how the food can both be a blessing and a disease if you eat bad food. I mean, bad food in an emergency situation will kill someone. Um, this is this is a really neat way for them to take their talent and their equipment and put them to use. One of the first steps to hosting a barbecue is inviting your family and friends. It became a tradition born of generosity. They did list on another article that uh, they had served over. Oh, and now the window doesn't want to play nicely with me. Um, they had served over 500 or 1,000 meals before they finally ran out of food. People were driving there to drop off meat and whatever other things they needed. So basically, the local responders set up an area for them and said, "Okay, this is your area." And it turns out it was opposite where a local chaplain had set up an outdoor church for people to come worship and to congregate. So he started, they were, according to some of these articles, they were trying to time it so that as soon as the morning service was over, it was right around 11-ish, and it was just in time for people to come over and get barbecue. So I think that's awesome. And keep in mind, you can contribute even if you're not in an affected area or you're not experiencing an SHTF yourself. You can take your skills and your knowledge and apply them and teach other people. Or you go and do things. You can execute on your skill set to contribute to those folks, and that's important, guys. Um, I promise you, these folks greatly appreciated being able to eat a hot meal, especially if they've got kids, right? Because not only were the towns destroyed, their homes were destroyed. I'm pretty sure the hotels in the area were all destroyed, or not livable, and they had glass everywhere. There's so much these people are dealing with. And for these guys to go out there and do this kind of stuff, uh, that's awesome. And I think that's something we can all learn from in the preparedness community, is that even just the phone call, sending the text, writing a letter, um, we need to, as a community as a whole, put aside the politics, right? Politics is all clickbait to me at this point, right? Everyone wants you to believe a certain thing because it's in their best interest. They may or may not represent you or your beliefs. They just want to create a kerfuffle, as my friend from Canada, um, an old Air Force buddy, has used that word quite frequently with me, which would crack me up. Um, but getting back to our humanity, the things that put we all have in common, wanting to feed our loved ones, wanting to gather, have community, whether you are Christian, Jew, Muslim, whatever your faith is, or you have no faith, you practice, um, decent, respectful living. Uh, you believe in other things. Uh, Getting back to the fundamentals of being humans, getting back to humanity with each other, that's what that's what this time is about. And every year, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, it's a time to reflect and to give thanks. And this is not uniquely a Christian thing. It's a people thing. So keep in mind, if you read the scripture, when Jesus did hang out with people, He always hung out with the ones that were the outcasts from the main part of society, the troublemakers, the tax collectors, the thieves, the fishermen, the people who nobody wanted, because those are the ones that needed him the most. So just something to think about there. Not to get all into too much religion, but it is Christmas. So, um, speaking of skills, I found another article I thought was really cool, and let me see if I can get this to behave accordingly so that I'm not battling this nonsense. Okay, here we go, and all of you are going to love this because I've been waiting for local governments to turn their brains on and start getting back to the fundamentals, and bam, they did it. Um, this is positive.news. I've never seen this site before, but I actually enjoyed it. Um, what went right this week? Surprising city farms. Now, check out that picture, guys. So that's on the outskirts, not London. It's Sussex. It's one of the other cities in the UK. But look around each of those houses in the subdivision, these little estates. They've turned it into farms. Research reveals the surprising benefits of urban farms. The EU drafted a law to protect gig workers. Okay, that's the summary. Think of farming and what comes to mind: a tractor plowing a field, cows grazing pastures, rows of vegetables, etc., etc. What about planters overlooked by tower blocks? Maybe not, but it should. I have no idea what a tower block is. So if one of you does know what that is and you're from the UK, please comment in the comments or in the chat, because I don't know what the hell that is. I'm assuming that's an apartment complex. According to the University of Sussex, urban growing spaces are almost as productive as regular farms. That, my friends, is very freaking cool. The surprise finding was reported this week after researchers monitored an allotment in Brighton and Hove, England. Brighton and Hove are in the southern part of the UK, I think. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, friends. They found that growers harvested an average of 1 kilogram of fruit and vegetables per square meter. They say, which they say is within the range of conventional farming. What's more, yields were achieved with limited pesticide use because there were smaller plots, so you could manage them in person as opposed to having to just spray this massive field, because you can't physically hit the whole field. But yeah, lead researcher Beth Nichols says the UK imports approximately 8 billion pounds, and pounds, the currency, not weight, in fruit and vegetables each year, but our results show that green spaces in cities such as allotments and community gardens could play an important role in meeting that demand at a local scale. That's freaking impressive, guys. I've said it before. If you can take 15, 20%, I haven't been able to do that in my particular property. I have some restrictions where I live that I'm trying to get around, but that's besides the point. Um, Being able to replace 15, 20% of what you would buy in the store by self provision, whether it's you're growing chickens and eggs or milk with cows, or if you're just growing the veggies and greens that you consume, that inflationary effect we're seeing in the market doesn't hurt as much when you've taken 10% out of what you need to buy. Just think of that. That is very positive, and it proves what a lot of people have been saying about canning. I know Northern Girl had talked about it a lot. The Milkmaid, shoot, I can't even think. Ghost and Nikki. There are a lot of folks in between prepping. Is Nikki? Those of you, if you look for Nikki, you won't find her. And Ghost and everyone else, they're all canning, and most of what they're canning, they either bought locally or they grew themselves. Um, this study reveals that that is valid, that works, that approach is productive, it uses less chemicals, and per square meter of property, if done correctly, yields as much as a commercial farm. And maybe that's going to be the future. You know, you want to greenify the world and reduce pesticides, but the supply chain is screwed up. That kind of approach solves all three. Right now, obviously, here in the States, if you have an HOA, you live in a subdivision, You would have to get on the HOA board and make provisions where people can grow in their yards, and then make it so that they don't ruin the neighborhood, because somebody's going to be an idiot, of course. But positive approach that we're seeing in this deal, and that's an important thing to see, guys, because uh, it just reinforces everything we've been talking about preparing, about making your own if you can. If you can't, buy local from the local farmers, support their efforts so that you shorten those supply chains, and nothing shorter than going in your backyard or in your own property. So that's encouraging. That is positive dot news. Feel free to look it up and do some reading for yourselves. But I think this kind of stuff is this is the kind of stuff that we really need to take into account, and I think that's great. Uh, let's see, we had another article here. Hold on, I lost it. So another one, and this one's again from the UK. I got a kick out of this site. Everything can be repurposed, almost everything, unless it's like radioactive. You can repurpose stuff. Check this out. So that is an old British phone booth. I'd love one of those, by the way, because I'd have fun. But they're repurposing, instead of sending them to trash, they're repurposing them. UK's iconic red phone boxes are slowly being decommissioned, but many given a new lease of life. One is even a nightclub. That one I got to see. I hadn't seen that one yet. Last week, some old phone boxes were saved from closure. Uh, announced plans to keep open those in areas where there is poor mobile coverage, accident rates, suicide rates, or just general need of the public. But these folks converted this into a shareable library. So they have a lot of kids in this part of this particular community, and they have a lot of parents who read. So you put a book and you take a book, and it's the community library, and it's on the honor system, right? It also has a map of local parks up here, and I don't know what that is. And then I guess local businesses put their business cards. You need a lawnmower or something. That's not only cool, that from the preparedness standpoint allows you, if you have a good mag or a good community you can work with, allows you to share resources. Instead of one person buying 100 books, if you have 20 but someone else has another 20 and someone else has another 15, if you can pool them in this way, and people respect what they've got, you can actually share those books, share that knowledge. Um, again, guys, there are ways to do this. So this one's actually a life-saving. Oh, this advertisement. We don't need that. Go away. Many life-saving medical centers. More than 1,000 red phone boxes have been repurposed to house defibrillators and first aid kits. Heartbeat Trust and partnered with BT. I don't know what that is. So basically, a British telephone. I don't know what BT is. But basically, what they've done is a group of charities and organizations have put a bunch of these phone boxes, but instead there's a defibrillator and a first aid kit, much like you'd see in a workplace, right? If you go to work in an office, typically there's a first aid kit and a defibrillator in the OSHA buildings. They have these out in the street. So again, it depends on your community. It depends on your theft rate. Obviously, you're in a place where there's a bunch of you know meth heads running around biting people, they're going to steal that or tear it up. um, but if you live in a town where the community is a little more tight knit, being able to repurpose things like this, heck, you could even do it in your own house, I guess. That's a nightclub. I don't know how, complete with music system. There's only room for one or two people. Over enthusiastic dancers not apply, but it's proven hit with visitors. Um, oh, so it's a jukebox. Okay, I misread that. So they call it the smallest nightclub, but it's actually a jukebox. So you donate $1, it goes to the preservation fund for all these phone booths around the UK. But you get to play music, and it's inside another facility, so you can dance outside the booth. Although I guess you can dance in the booth, but that would probably get ridiculous after a while, I think. But so yeah, no, this is the kind of stuff we need to see this time of year. I was really impressed with that urban garden thing. I thought that was very cool. And it proves a lot of what we've all been saying about storing your own food, growing your food, buying local, shortening supply chains. But now a university actually did a diagnostic study on it and have proven we're not all crazy. We actually know what we're talking about. Imagine that. Um, so here's another one. This is another one. This is from Fox News, and this is probably a little cheeky, but it is funny too. And if I know my followers, I'm going to assume that cheeky is fun anyway. Um, there's there we go. So, um, oh, no video. So anyway, Viagra may actually be a promising drug candidate in being able to treat symptoms of Alzheimer's. Sildenafil Sildenafil was significantly associated with 69% reduced risk of Alzheimer's. Now, I'll bet you anything part of it is improved blood flow, which obviously blood flow for other things, but also flow to the brain. Let's see what it says. We found that sildenafil, I can't say Viagra thing, usage was significantly associated with a 69% reduced risk of Alzheimer's. The drug used to treat dysfunction, known under the commercial name Viagra, and it also helps pulmonary hypertension under the name Ravasho. So that's kind of the same drug under two different commercial names. The researchers examined over 1,600 FDA-approved drugs to see which had the potential to be repurposed to treat Alzheimer's. Doggone it. Now I got this stupid thing playing here. Hold on a second here. There we go. Nobody wants to hear that. Cleveland researchers examined the relationship between sildenafil and outcomes in this blessed thing won't stop talking. I killed the audio for you guys so you didn't have to hear the commercial, but it's blasting on my headset. Anyway, so once again, I've kicked myself off my own StreamYard uh, and brought myself back because those years in an IT desk really helped. In any case, so yeah, so apparently Viagra will could also have other uses. I'm kind of thinking of like, you give Viagra to people for like Alzheimer's, but then other things might happen. Like, how do they fix that? Anyway, that was awesome. Unfortunately, I crashed my own window, so let's find that last. There was one more article I wanted to share with you guys. This I thought that one would give everyone a laugh. Let me see where it was. I lost it. 5 ways to do positive Christmas shopping, which is kind of a bit redundant now, but uh, the tips, even though you're going to be watching this Christmas Day, so it's kind of redundant, the tips they give are actually good year round. So I'm going to share that real quick. And here we go. 5 ways to have a positive impact when doing your Christmas shopping. Obviously, by the time you see this, Christmas is gone. One, support independent booksellers. So go to those local stores, not just the local bookstores, but local boutiques, local farms, local artisans, local bakeries. Put some of that money back into your local community or to the independents. Also, they recommend don't buy toys that will actually be pollutants at some point. And it says toys don't have to be plastic or shipped from China. They're taking a ding at the PRC here to get kids excited. Heaps of UK companies are offering imagination nurturing alternatives. They're here in the States and Canada as well. A bunch of little things that if and when they're thrown away are biodegradable, but the kids get to play with them and enjoy themselves. Also buying local, buying more natural, and there's a benefit to buying more natural clothing because polyester is a somewhat plastic slash petroleum based product, and which is embedded in a lot of our clothes. You have no idea. Actually, is very flammable too. So they also recommend going to secondhand places, Goodwill, the local boutiques, the local antique places. Find those old style clothes. You could probably find something vintage you can repurpose to wear today. Also, the tech world is notorious for low wages, tax avoidance, and the use of conflict minerals, which we all know. Um, when buying electronics, you can check out their ethical ratings. They're rated on ESG, which would be environmental, social, and governance. You can get a ranking from them, or you can repurpose and rebuild an old computer. So instead of buying a brand new desktop, for instance, you could try to find a way to have one refurbished so that it's almost like a brand new machine. Replace some of the components and give that as a gift as well. And then again, if you're a foodie, local restaurants, local farms. But yeah, this is good stuff that we can all do. It makes sense to do it. It doesn't really cost you more. It may cost you a little bit more. But again, the reusing of used items, the local buying, the shortening of the supply chain, guys, this is stuff we can do. And but again, guys, it goes back to what we've been saying, managing your local area, shortening the supply chains, understanding our role in what we do and what's around us, and sharing your skill sets, like the barbecue guys did over in Kentucky. Um, there's a lot of things we can do individually that will affect the community around us. And I think that's something we, as folks who are trying to be prepared for a variety of situations, need to keep in our mind. So, guys, some positive articles, just some things to think about, things that you can do to positively affect the community. Remember, the better off the whole community is, the less likely you are to have the thievery, the violence, the anger, because people can basically hold their own. And one of the biggest ones, the biggest takeaways, the first article, skill sets, the chefs, the barbecue guys. If you have a skill set that you can either teach to others or use to help others, that not only makes you an important member of a community in a blackout or any other situation, it also helps stabilize the situation around you. You're less likely to have that thievery and behavior if people can take a breath and kind of get their shit together all at one time. So, boys and girls, I'm going to call it. This is just a short video. Again, it's Christmas Day for you. God bless all of you. Have a Merry Christmas and a blessed and Happy New Year. I'm going to throw some continue to throw little pre-recorded videos out there, but I'm going to be spending some time with the family. So if I don't speak to you again till the new year, Happy New Year as well. Godspeed, be safe, help each other out, and think about ways that you can positively affect your community, because when that happens, the good ripples out. Just like bad does, good can too. So think about things you can do to make others more cognizant of how to be ready and how to deal with things. Gang, until next time, Godspeed, take care, and I will see all of you on the other side of the new year.